As far as what? Being able to talk to the trainer?
Yep.
No. No, I think it's just the willingness of and being able to actually talk with the trainer. That's been the biggest pitfall in getting all the information to make a recommendation if we did end up at a dangerous dog hearing.
Understood. Okay, I'll stop grilling you now. Thank you, Hillary.
Can I just add one more thing?
Sure, go right ahead.
So before we get to, you know, a hearing on dangerous or nuisance, I like to have as much facts in both sides court to make the best recommendation. So that's why I'm kind of stuck where I'm at right now.
Understood.
If I could add one more thing, Kevin.
Sure.
Just that in order to make sure the hearing process is preserved, it's probably best that we not entertain any input tonight from either the owner or the family, that everyone have a chance to prepare for that meeting if it's going to be requested. This is not a scheduled hearing tonight, so I just want to, town council was recommended that we just consider, the board just consider a limited extension.
Understood. Thank you. With the recommendation from town council, I'll pass it to the board one more time for any questions or comments related to the proposed resolution. Cece, I'm seeing a head shake. Does that mean no comments?
That means no further comments from me, yes.
Understood. And Anita, anything from you?
And so just to clarify, what I think that I'm understanding is that we're considering the option of just doing a temporary continuation of the restraint until we can do the legwork to have a hearing. Is that what I'm understanding?
If a hearing is even warranted at that point, I believe that Hillary is exploring some avenues that may result in no hearing occurring down the road. But I think at this point, what she's asking for is an extension to the restraining order so that she can line that up and, you know, come out with a definitive path forward, whether that be hearing or not.
And so there's a possibility that we could extend the restraining order and then work would happen on Hillary's end, and then it would just, the extension would just end, and then that would be the end?
I do believe it would come back to us at some point.
That's what I'm wondering. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the family of the victim still has the right to request the hearing. Whether the hearing ended in some type of an outcome about what happened to the dog or not is to be determined. But that doesn't, just because we get more input from a trainer doesn't mean they can't request one anyway.
Any other questions, Anita?
No.
No. Okay, with that, I would move that the board vote to extend the restraining order issued by the animal control officer for the dog named Annabelle, owned by Miss Melissa Mitchell, for a period of 30 days.
Second.
Hearing a second, do I hear any further discussion? I'm hearing none. We'll take a roll call vote. Kevin Calcutt, aye.
Cece Van Tine, aye.
Anita Mecklenburg, aye.
It is a unanimous vote. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Hillary. Much appreciated. And we do hope that this can be resolved in the next 30 days.
Thank you.
Our next item this evening is to please consider ratifying the designation of the police chief to file notice with the Attorney General's office regarding the postponement of the annual town meeting date to June 27th. Blythe, additional background, please.
Yes, so this moderator has always had some authority to change the day of town meeting for various reasons, but in the situation with COVID-19, the state amended the law slightly to require that besides a certification by the moderator, that the town also needed to have either a public safety official or public health official send a notice of the declaration with the moderator's note to the Attorney General's office. We were caught up in a timing issue where the decision to change the date of town meeting was made a week ago. And the board hadn't had a meeting in order to act to know that it needed to do this. So this is a little bit of cleanup paperwork, if you will. I wasn't necessarily able to reach the chair of the Board of Health, Tom Gilbert. So I asked Police Chief Chuck Stone to sign that letter on the board's behalf and send it in, which happened, I think, Tuesday last week. So this is simply to vote to officially designate him to allow him to have signed that letter.
Thank you very much. At this time, I will open it up to the board for any questions or comments. We'll start with Anita this time.
I do not have any questions.
Cece, any questions or comments?
No, none.
All right, with that, I would move that the board ratify the designation of the police chief to file notice with the Attorney General's office regarding the postponement of the annual town meeting date to June 27th. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a second, do I hear any other further discussion? I'm hearing none, so we'll take a roll call vote. Kevin Calcutt, aye.
CC Van Tyne, aye.
Anita Mecklenburg, aye.
And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Our next item tonight is a couple of warrants that require signing, and it looks like I'm the lucky recipient. So with that, I would move that the board approve the warrants dated 6/23/2020 in the amount of $717,279, dated 6/23/2020 in the amount of $230.37, and dated 6/23/2020 in the amount of $65,635.46. Do I hear a second?
Second,
Hearing a second. Any further discussion? I am hearing none. We'll take a roll call vote. Kevin Calcutt, aye.
CC Van Tyne, aye.
Anita Mecklenburg, aye.
And it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Well, that does it for our shortened agenda this evening. Blythe, anything else for the group?
Nope. I just noticed that there's one person with their hand raised on the list. I don't know if you want to take that up.
Sure. Ms. Mitchell, go right ahead.
Hi. I would have really liked a chance to speak about the restraining order, because for the most important part, I did speak with the animal control officer that came when Annabelle got into the incident with the other dog. And it was written and reported that their dog was on my property when she got bit. Their dog had come onto my property and my dog instinctively chased her. And that's how that happened. It wasn't like, you know, my dog just went on their property and bit their dog. The dog was on my property. That's when it happened. It was one single nip. It wasn't like my dog viciously attacked their dog, you know. And it was the same thing with their kid. And I was very upset. Their child is probably one of the most wonderful kids I have ever met. He is intelligent. He's well-spoken. He's a great kid. It broke my heart. But she's a rescue dog. And when kids run, she kind of freaks out. And my kids were in the yard and, you know, but she's also an English bulldog that has breathing issues. And I tried to take her for a walk the other night with the muzzle because I'm following what I'm supposed to be following. And I had to
Ms.
stop.
Mitchell, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm very sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. I understand your perspective, and I actually feel very badly for the whole situation, everybody involved as a whole. But I want to be very careful that we don't cross into the territory of listening to testimony as it would pertain to a potential hearing. What we did tonight was merely extend the order so that we'd be able to do a little bit more groundwork to explore all potential outcomes that may not even result in a hearing or further testimony or whatnot. But it is important that we don't go down this road on this call, because that's not what was on the agenda, and we could face open meeting law violations.
That's fair. My question then is, in accordance to your bylaws on Norfolk and state bylaws, in order for there to be a order to extend a restrainment order, there has to be a meeting first determining whether the dog is a nuisance or a dangerous dog. And that never happened. So technically, according to your laws, after the 14 days, which is today, if that meeting has not occurred, then this order is vacated. So I don't understand how, if I wasn't allowed to have a hearing to defend my dog, how we're allowed to put an order in place.
This was the issue that we had talked about before, where there was a distinct conflict between what is listed in state law and what we have in our local bylaws. However, in conference with our town council, we got a recommendation for us to be able to take the action that we did tonight that we felt wasn't going to necessarily take any definitive action as it pertained to the case. This merely gave us the time to be able to determine more facts and hopefully come to a better resolution at the end of the road. But Blythe, if you'd like to add anything to that, that was my understanding of the guidance that we received.
That's correct, Kevin. The only thing that the board needs to receive is the report from the animal control officer. It doesn't actually specifically say hearing. We want to make sure that everyone's rights are preserved by studying this for a short period so that we can go forward to that if needed.
And I was to understand that in order for there to be any kind of anything that happened, it was to whoever had to make a report to the animal control officer. And at that point, she has the option to put the restraining order on my dog, which she did. But in order to go further than that, a hearing has to be set to determine whether the dog is a nuisance dog or a dangerous dog. If that meeting or hearing did not take place, then within that 14 days, then the order is vacated. That's in the Norfolk bylaws, not just, I mean, the state bylaws, you know, go with that, but that is actually in the Norfolk bylaws.
I'm sorry, I would respectfully disagree.
So this is why we go and we confer with our town council so we can get guidance on situations like this. So we will report back to him your contention with the position, and then we'll be happy to follow up to identify if there is any further discussion required around the action that we took earlier this evening. But from my perspective, I see this as an extension to be able to get us to a better resolution at the end. I don't think anybody wanted to prematurely make any determination as to a more definitive and permanent path forward without giving everybody the opportunity to get as much as we can together. So that's why we took the action that we did. So like I said, we'll follow up with town council to see if there's any other additional opinions or perspective that you wish to share, but that is the guidance that we received and why we took the action we did. Blythe, do you have anything else to add this evening?
Not, thank you.
Cece, anything else to add this evening?
No.
Anita, anything else to add?
Nothing.
Very good. Well, in that case, the select board's next meeting is on, Blythe, feel free to jump in, the 13th?
14th.
14th of July, so we will see everybody then. I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a second. Any further discussion? We're hearing none. We'll do a roll call vote. Kevin Calcutt, aye.
Cece Van Tine, aye.